When you focus on creating happiness in your life, the house you live in and the home you're creating plays a significant role in that pursuit. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome back to another episode of the From Chaos to Peace podcast, where I talk about how clutter is so much more than you think, and we put a spiritual twist on clearing that clutter to get organized. Thank you so much for allowing me back into your ears. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Conny Graf. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for spending some time with me in your ear today. This topic I want to talk about is really dear to my heart. I say it a lot. Ideally, our home is our sanctuary. If you listen to this the day it comes out, we have full moon in Cancer, and Cancer is the sign that thrives on creating a sense of home and safety. So I'm very aligned with the energies out there, and that is on purpose. But first, and at this point, I want to express my deep condolences to anyone who's affected by the fires in California, those that were affected by the hurricanes Helene and Milton back in October, and really anyone out there who is without a home. We can't even imagine having only a few minutes to leave our house and then everything else is gone. It's so sad and truly heartbreaking. So right now I invite you to join me in taking a moment to pause and reflect. Let's hold some space for those who've lost their homes and livelihoods in recent disasters. And let's also be deeply grateful for the roof over our head. Cluttered or not, whether it's our dream home or not, it is a house, it is a home, and it's a roof over our head. It is some safety. So let's take a minute to sit in stillness and honor those affected by loss, while at the same time appreciating the home we do have. Thank you so much for taking that moment with me. So now let's dive into the episode. Let's start by you asking yourself, how often do you pause to appreciate the home you have? In our fast-paced world, and with the chaos and the uncertainty, the insatiable pull of mindless routines can really easily take over, unless we're intentional, mindful and present, and don't let it. Being grateful is a theme of every full moon, and now with full moon in Cancer, even more, and it is even more it is to being grateful for our home, for the safety we're creating, and hopefully for the sanctuary you're creating for yourself and your family. Your home really plays a significant role in cultivating your happiness. Your home is also a mirror of your soul, whether you are realizing it or not. So from the very beginning, we humans instinctively were looking for safe places to rest, to sleep, and to protect ourselves from the elements, from predators, and from other dangers. And in the old days, that meant finding natural shelters like caves or creating temporary shelters using rocks and wood that they found laying around. So a lot of work, hard work. When we then, as humans, started to form settlements, villages, and societies, we started to build more permanent structures that offered greater protection and also greater comfort. But what began as basic survival needs has, over time, transformed into a complex relationship with the space we live in and the things we own. which for many is now more a source of stress and overwhelm than shelter and sanctuary. And it really saddens me when people share that they prefer staying out in bars and restaurants and just staying out and away from their home rather than going home because their living space feels overwhelming and stresses them out. I can't imagine how difficult it must be not to have a place that feels like a calm, safe space, a sanctuary at best, especially in these uncertain times. And our lives are already so busy and stressful. And when our homes, which we need to be a place of comfort, I feel, also become a source of anxiety, it leaves us really without a place to relax and rejuvenate. So I myself love my home. It's not perfect. It's not in the perfect location. It's old. It's for sure not my dream home. But still, I love my home and I love being at home. And I created this very intentionally. My philosophy has always been that I want to live where I love to live. That I want to surround myself with things that I love so I have no need to escape my home in order to feel good. Now, that doesn't mean I don't love going on vacation or on road trips or on other trips, but those are not trips that I use to escape from a place I don't want to be. Those are like venturing out into the world and figuring out or checking out new places. Sightseeing. I use my home as a hub, as a base camp, so to speak, and then as a launch pad. So a place that I love and can't wait to come back to also. But for most people, that is really not that way. As I said, for a lot of people, it's very stressful to be home, to go home. They can't relax because maybe it's full of clutter. But the other thing is too, is like maybe it's financially very stressful to keep the house, to keep all these things, to pay for it all. And it's not a sanctuary because of that. On top of that, the impact of clutter on our physical and mental health has been studied extensively, but its effect on our spiritual well-being is also significant. Because everything around us is a reflection of what's happening inside of us. If your surroundings are chaotic, chances are your mental and emotional state is experiencing turmoil as well. Clutter overwhelms our senses just like multitasking overloads our brain. For decades already, I can say it already, I have been inspired and guided by the timeless wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus, who said, "As above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul." And this ancient wisdom reminds us that everything is interconnected. What happens in the star and the sky symbolically reflects what's happening here on Earth. And our external environment mirrors what's going on inside of us. And while this wisdom is really thousands of years old, modern science now is beginning to validate it through research of brain waves. Studies show that our outer environment indeed influences our mental state and stress levels. And of course, a calm environment soothes us, while a cluttered, chaotic one increases the stress. So this is why it's so important, in my eyes, that we create as much as possible clutter-free home, one that doesn't stress us out, one we feel comfortable and cozy in, one that is supportive of our lifestyle, one that we love to come back to. But again, this is for most people not that way. Let me share some statistics with you, and I got them from Joshua Becker from the famous blog Becoming Minimalist, and he has collected some staggering statistics. So remember how I talked about the humble beginnings when humans searched for shelter in caves or built their own little temporary shelters? Well, Just in the last 50 years, the average size of an American home has nearly tripled. Also, the average American household contains about 300,000 items. That's crazy, isn't it? 300,000 items. And that's just the average household. Also, 25% of people with a two-car garage can't park their cars in it because the garage is full of stuff. And only 32% can park at least one car. And almost 20% of American households rent a storage unit to store more things because they don't have enough space in their home, which, remember, my first statistic is 3 times bigger than 50 years ago. Yeah, so no wonder we're stressed out, right? Because the problem is a little bit that we still associate having a lot of stuff and a big house with being successful and happy. We work hard towards owning a house, a car, nice clothes and accessories. And wait a second, what am I talking about? A car? Most people want to have more than one car, right? We compare ourselves to others, assuming that their lives are richer or more rewarding, partly based on the stuff we see on display or we see on Instagram and Facebook and now TikTok and wherever else, right? But all this stuff actually weighs heavy on us, especially the items we don't really use or need. And you may not be aware of it right now. It's like a joke where one fish says to the other, "How's the water?" And the other fish says, "What's water?" So you're so used to feeling weighed down by your stuff, all that stuff that you have, that you don't really know it, that you don't really realize it anymore. Only when you start decluttering and organizing your surroundings, you truly feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. And I hear it a lot from my clients when I help them. And so I'd like to just share a comment that I received in one of my annual Decluttering is Self-Love challenges. And it was Leah that said, "I have a whole new perspective now, and my relationship with stuff has evolved along the way. I have removed literally 2 truckloads of stuff from my home so far, stuff that has weighing me down, both mentally and emotionally. What a relief." So that was Leah. And her words beautifully illustrate how decluttering not only clears physical space, but also lightens our mental and emotional load and our spiritual load. Because a cluttered home and environment already stresses us out in the best of times and when life is going relatively well. I don't remember when that was last. But imagine facing trauma or grief, like the loss of a loved one, a bad accident, or a scary health diagnosis for yourself or for someone close to you. And in those times, you really need a supportive environment more than ever. When we're in turmoil, even the smallest things can trip us up. Little frustrations seem to snowball, and then before we know it, they become a big problem, and we're so frustrated, and it's so hard. And in times of grief or stress, our capacity to function feels fragile and we're vulnerable, right? So it's like hanging on by a thread. And when something goes wrong, and when you can't find what you need, or you realize you're surrounded by chaos, and can be really a tipping point that causes you to maybe break down completely, or to have a meltdown, or to make things worse than they are, right? On the other hand, a supportive environment can help us get through tough times more easily. When we need all our energy just to face the day, a calm, organized space, a calm, organized home, one that functions and supports us, allows us to conserve mental and emotional strength. And we can go about what we need to go about, and we can face the hard things that we may have to face. And this is one of the main reasons why I help people declutter and organize, because I know from experience that we get through stressful days much better when our environment supports us, when our home feels like a hug, like offering safety and comfort. It really makes all the difference. And this is why it's even more devastating for me to know that those who lost their homes in the fire last week or during the hurricane last October are now faced with this unimaginable situation. They have no safe shelter to return to in the midst of their trauma. They don't have a home, which should be a place of refuge and comfort. And they don't have that any longer. Well, hopefully they got shelter with a relative or a friend, but that's not the same, and you know it. It's also not the same to be in a hotel room. You might be grateful to have a roof over your head, but it's not the same than being home in your loved environment, in what you know. So this is something they no longer have. This makes an already overwhelming time even more unsettling and challenging. And this is why I said in the beginning, and this is why I'm really thinking right now in this full moon in Cancer, all we that have a home, again, whether it's cluttered or not, set that aside. Let's really be grateful for that we have a shelter, that we have a roof over our head, that we have a familiar environment, that we actually also have control over to make it more like we love it. Like we can declutter it, we can organize it, we can clean it, we can tidy it. We can create this refuge and comfort that those people don't have. If our environments are set up to support us and our daily habits run smoothly, it's like a soft mattress that cushions the fall if we're experiencing some turmoil or trauma. That's kind of how I felt when 5 years ago my world kind of took a turn that I didn't expect. Because I live in a home that I love, at least I had that. Because I live on a property that I love, at least I had that. This gave me some grounding. This is what Cancer helps us with. Create such a place where we can go and feel, like I said earlier, it's almost like you get a hug from your home. If you do it right, you come home, you come into your house, and it's almost like your house is hugging you. That's where you want to be. That's where you can rejuvenate. But also without experiencing major trauma or grief, if you're feeling a sense of stuckness or disorientation, or if you're longing for more drive, love, clarity, luck, flow, abundance in your life, start with your home. Align your space with your dreams and desires. Sounds very woo, but in a way it's true, right? Like you want to focus on creating the environment that you love to be in. And what you focus on will grow. So if you focus on positivity, beauty, and a clean and clear space, you will attract more of this into your life. And you will also see it more around you. You will experiencing it more. It may sound simplistic, but it truly helps. I'm not saying it's a cure-all, but it does support all the other efforts you're making to overcome a trauma, grief, or your stuckness, or whatever you need to do. It really helps to have a supportive home base, a supportive house. And then whenever the moon is in Cancer, especially during a full moon like now, we are called to focus on our home. Safety, security, and nurturing both ourselves and others. So you could start by asking yourself, with all the chaos in the world right now, how can you find peace in your home and within yourself? How do you feel when you get home? Do you look forward to going there, or does your heart drop when you enter through the front door? If it does, how do you want to feel in your home instead? What is one small thing you could do today, right now, after listening to this, to make your home a bit more of a sanctuary? As I often say, there is more to being organized and clutter-free. It's about self-awareness and self-reflection. And to come back to the beginning, it's about being grateful for what we do have and appreciate it and take care of it. Okay, my friends, that's all I have for you today. Now remember, it's not just about listening to a podcast. It's about putting it into action, what you have just heard. And a few minutes a day can truly keep your chaos away. But if you'd like more help, more insights, or you want to have a little nudge or motivation, you can sign up for my weekly emails. I share the moon's journey through the signs, elements, and energies every week, along with tips on how to harness that energy in your life and business. Plus, I dive into organizing tips, mindset shifts, and personal stories to help you move from chaos to peace too. That hopefully inspires you to take action. And I also challenge you with a few minutes a day challenge that I offer a suggestion what you could clear this week in your home or in your office, right? So if you want my weekly emails with all that and with a little nudge to go and declutter something, like a lot of people tell me, I don't even know where to start. Well, you could just start by reading my email and doing that little challenge that I share in my weekly email. So again, if that sounds like something you would enjoy, you can click the link in the show notes to sign up for my weekly emails. Or if it's easier for you right now, you can just go to Instagram and DM me with the word moon. And I will make sure you get the sign up page for getting my weekly emails. And my handle on Instagram is I am Conny Graf. But again, the link to sign up for the emails is also in the show notes. My emails and my podcast is all about spiritual organizing. It's a blend of practicality and mindfulness and intention and soul. So thank you so much for joining me today and for listening all the way through. I hope you carry a sense of gratitude and mindfulness with you as you move through the rest of your day and the rest of your week. Have a beautiful and amazing week. Don't forget to subscribe and follow this podcast so you never miss an episode. Until next time, take good care and stay safe. Hey, it's me again, Conny, your host. I wanted to remind you that you can bring your financial chaos to me. If it sounds too scary or you don't believe you can do it on your own, but you are so ready to make a change, there are 2 ways right now that I can help. 1, I have a workshop coming up on how to create elegant finances and a lighthouse plan for 2025. Get on the wait list for that. The link is in the show notes and more info follows shortly. The second option is the opportunity to work with me one-on-one. As me being your fractional CFO and ally, you can message me on Instagram. My handle is I am Conny Graf, or you can sign up for a complimentary Chaos to Peace consultation, and we can see if working together on your financial clutter would be a great fit. That link is also in the show notes. To more peace in 2025. Bye for now.